welcome to my film and TV channel, and today we're going to have a look at a Marvel film. Yeah, a lot of people have loved this film. Spider-Man No Way Home, 148 minutes, a 12A certificate here in the UK. An interesting budget, $200 million, I'm not surprised. Some pretty, well, the CGI, yeah, bit hit and miss for me, to be honest with you, for $200 million, but perhaps that's what they pay for the actors rather than the CGI and the various other things in this. Of course, it's a superhero film based on Marvel Comics character Spider-Man, co-produced by Columbia and Marvel Studios, and a sequel, of course, to Spider-Man Homecoming 2017 and Spider-Man Far From Home 2019. 27th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. Film directed by John Watts, written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. It stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker. There are other Peter Parkers as well, alongside Zendaya, Benedict Cumberbatch, Jacob Batalon, Jon Favreau, Jamie Foxx, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Benedict Wong, Tony Revolori, Marissa Tomei, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire. In this film, Parker asked Dr. Stephen Strange, of course, Mr. Cumberbatch himself. I think he's great in this role. I do like Cumberbatch anyway, but I think he's ideal as Dr. Strange. To make his identity as Spider-Man a secret again with magic following its public revelation. But it breaks open the multiverse, yeah, and allows 5 supervillains from alternate realities who have fought their own versions of Parker to enter his universe. Lots of trouble, of course. It was released in the United States and the UK and other territories on the 17th of December 2021 as part of Phase 4 of the MCU. It all gets very confusing, these phases and prequels. And there is another sequel is currently in development to this one. So obviously itself, part of a trilogy, if you like. It's now going to be a quadrilogy or whatever we call it. I'm not too sure. Is it any good? Well, we're getting pretty favourable reviews, guys, all over the place. Rotten Tomatoes, 94% positivity. An average score of 7.9 out of 10, which is pretty good. That's based on 265 critics. That's 249 fresh and just 16 rotten. Empire Magazine's Dan Jolin is fresh on it. He said, at the risk of getting cheesy, it probably does, it won't just make you cheer, it'll make you want to hug your friends too. Yes, well, I'd have watched it on my own, but I can see the point. Bilge Abiri is pretty rotten, though. He's from, I assume it's a guy, Bilge. I hope it's not a lady. New York Magazine / Vulture. While the previous Holland films have been mediocre in modest ways, No Way Home feels downright aggressive in its mediocrity. Where am I on those two? Probably somewhere in between, to be honest with you. The site's critical consensus, a bigger, bolder Spider-Man sequel. No Way Home expands the franchise's scope and stakes without losing sight of its humour and heart. Yeah, the humour didn't work for me particularly. I didn't find it overly funny, to be honest with you. Plenty of others did, but not me. Metacritic, the other side we'll look at, it's got an average of 72 out of 100, so a little bit less than Rotten Tomatoes. That's based on 55 critics who scored it anywhere between 60 and 83. Right, on to Internet Movie Database. Yeah, well, this is weird, to say the least. A lot of reviews left. It's averaging... it's averaging 9.1 out of 10 at the moment as I'm recording this. Ridiculous. But it's averaging 9.1 out of 10 purely because of all the reviews, the 67,414 give it a score of 10 out of 10. Absolutely ridiculous number of 10 out of 10. Absolutely, you know me, I don't believe for what. So that probably lets me look at this with sheer trepidation, the fact that there's that many people give it 10 out of 10. Yeah, there's a lot of people love Spider-Man out there and love this version of it, of course there is. So let me ignore the 10 out of 10s. Let me just look at the others out. But, I mean, it's still impressive. 35,634 scored anywhere between 6 and 9 out of 10. That's 97% of the rest of the people. We've just got a very small 1,139 scored it between 2 and 5. So take out the 10 out of 10. You're still getting a pretty high mark for this one. So what do I think? As I say, well, I'm I'm a little confused by this movie, to be honest with you. I was confused by some of those scores. I thought the critics were reasonably fair, if a little bit over the top for me. Spidey's my second, perhaps not as I've grown up now as an old man now, but in the early days and as a kid, comics, etc., etc., he was my second favourite superhero. He always has been my second favourite, second only to Batman. And there's plenty in this movie to like, but in equal measure, I just got a little bored with a lot of it as well. I've never quite enjoyed any of the Spider-Man films as much as I hoped I would. I have enjoyed some of the Batman films greatly, but Spider-Man never just sort of worked for me on the big screen. I'm not too sure why. I love the comics. I love the animation, the old, I remember as a, Spider-Man. I love that, but this is just continuing that sort of confusion I've got about Spider-Man and whether I really do like it or not. I just, it doesn't really work for me, and I think because it's supposed to be a bit lighter, but they put a bit of darkness in this, and it just doesn't. The humour doesn't sort of work overall for me, and it still didn't in this one. I didn't ooh and ah, of course, when some of the old Spideys turned up, but can appreciate the fullness, the nostalgia involved. But this film is just way too long for the sort of basic story we get, and that is what it is. It's a fairly simple plot, a fairly simple story beneath it all. So if you're not going to be overly impressed by these multiverse characters joining the fray, then perhaps can be just a little bit monotonous, and I did find myself finding it a little boring at times. But this all points to the fact, I think, that I like Spider-Man, but I don't love him or his incarnations, and this is why certain elements lack a little bit of oomph for me. And then all of a sudden they do hit you. They do hit you with a devastating little plot twist that makes me go, "Oh my God, no!" And that's what it does to this film to me. It bores me and then hits me with something as well at the same time. So even I felt a little bit down at times in this film. It's obvious by the numerous 10 out of 10s that this is a real dyed-in-the-wool fans' homage to the webbed hero, and a big indicator of bigger, more mature things perhaps to come, because Spider-Man now actually be a man and not just a boy, which I do look forward to. I do look forward to a bit more adult, I just don't get that adulty feel with this. I just want a bit more story to the thing, rather than it all. Oh yes, all these oohs and ahs that you get from a cinema audience at certain points. It had its moments, and no doubt up and down cinemas and theatres of the world, it received applause and gasps of joy. I'm sure it did. Certainly did. I know it did when I watched it. And but for me, no. Marissa Tomei sort of made it more watchable. I will admit to it. I did enjoy when Marissa Tomei was on the screen. That sort of made it a little bit better for me. But I'm not going to go mad. I'm not going to go. I am going to score it between 6 and 9. I'm going to score it 6. I'm just going to give it the basic watchable rating. But I do know a lot of people love this. But it's just too much nostalgia and not enough oomph for me. I wanted a little bit more. I want a little bit more. Hopefully going forward, once we've got this little multiverse homage out of the way, we might move forward and get something a little bit more deeper and interesting to me anyway. But there were good elements in this, but in 2.5 hours, I probably enjoyed about 45 minutes to an hour of it, to be honest with you. But I can appreciate the loving it's getting. But I say 16,600 plus 10 out of 10s. Sorry, 65,000. I'm going to say 16,000. I don't know where I'm coming from. 67,440 10 out of 10s. Really? No, I'm afraid not. Anyway, let me know what you think, guys. Thanks for watching. What we're going to do yesterday, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More importantly, let's all look after each other. To me here again on the Film and TV channel. If you like football, please check out my Citizen channel on my football team, Manchester City, or give someone a nudge if you think they might be interested. But if you're not into that, don't worry. Hopefully I'll see you back on air with the next sequel to next sequel to Spider-Man, which I'm hoping for a little bit more. And be nice to see Marissa Tomei again, but probably not. There you go. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.